In Avatar, it was a highly experimental production. So one of the things that's unique about it is that we went into it starting years before the release. We started in 2005 and the film came out in late 2009. Not knowing exactly how we were going to solve most of the problems. We had a general idea of how to do things. We were pretty thin on specifics. And I had actually written Avatar in 1995 as a challenge to my digital effects company, Digital Domain. And they said, we can't do it yet. We don't have the tools to do the muscle rigs and the facial muscle rigs and the eyes and the hands, and we can't do it. It's too much. It's beyond us right now. I said, all right, I'll just put it in a shelf for a few years. And I waited and I waited and I waited, and then I was watching The Two Towers. And there's the scene where Gollum talks to himself. And he's in two places at once, and he's having this kind of schizophrenic out-of-body experience. And it's highly expressive, highly emotional, goes on for several minutes, and it's 100% CG character. And I said to myself, if they can do that, I can make Avatar. And that's what set me down the path of making the movie. So I was inspired by the work of another filmmaker. I was building on what Peter Jackson had done and what Weta Digital had already done. So I came in with a whole new set of challenges and a new high bar they had to get through, and they loved that. They loved that challenge. We spent literally a couple of years figuring out how to do this with Weta Digital. And Weta Digital did the heavy lifting on this. And it was iteration after iteration after iteration and coming up with little things. So the most critical thing about all visual effects, and certainly any kind of CG character design, and especially if you're trying to emulate photoreality, is to observe. In a nutshell, the methodology was that we're going to capture the performance using a collection of data. The idea of motion capture, where we capture the body movement of a character, had been around. I used it on Titanic for some of the crowd scenes. So that had been around for a while, been around for at least 10 years. The idea of how you were going to capture the specifics of a facial performance, which is where you see the majority of the emotion in the eyes, the mouth, all the many, many muscles in the face. So it's almost its own separate world from the full body performance. People that had tried to do this in the past tried to do it by using markers that they put on the face and capturing the face the same way they captured the body, with a bunch of motion capture cameras in a big array around it. But the detail wasn't fine enough. They could only work in very small volumes. It really limited the action. It limited how they were going to, the type of action that they could stage. So we proposed a completely different solution, which is to take something that looked like a lot like a boom mic for a singer in a concert, and put a little tiny video camera out on the end of it on a pretty wide lens and shoot the face, film the face or video the face while the actor's doing the scene. And it's nulled out to them, it stays with them wherever they go. And it's getting a 100% recording, a close-up recording of their performance, their facial performance. So now you've got a video data stream coming out of the face, and we called that image-based facial performance capture, right? And that set a trend that's still in motion to this day. A lot of other people have used it. Different people have brought different refinements to the process, but it hasn't fundamentally changed since 2005 when we first launched the concept. So now you have two data streams that are recording the actor's performance. You're getting the body performance off a standard motion capture system with a lot of really tricky bells and whistles on it to make it better. And you're getting the facial performance from this little camera that's on this little camera boom in real time, in the world, in the CG world. All at low resolution, almost looks like an old crappy video game from the 80s. The only thing we couldn't shoot using the system was a kiss, for obvious reasons, because the two booms would be in the way. So we had to use a different kind of harder technique that was more labor intensive to do the kiss scene and a couple of other moments. But for the most part, it worked for, I'd say, 99% of what we were trying to shoot. We had a lot of proof of concept. We spent a fair bit of the studio's money, the studio being 20th Century Fox, to prove that we could do it. And to do that, we did a test. We did a 1.5-minute test, boy meets girl in the jungle, and they talk.
You only come and make problems, only.
Okay, fine. You love your little forest friends. So why not just let them kill my ass? What's the thinking?
Why save?
Yes. Why save?
You not fear. You strong heart.
And it was compelling enough that Fox was willing to pull the trigger on a $200+ million project that then went somewhat over that budget. And it was 3 years later that we had the first shot that really proved that we could do it. So think about that. We had our proof of concept done in 2005. We got the first shot that we could actually use in the movie in 2008. And everything in between was a gigantic leap of faith.